Today, 107 years ago, many people woke up the ringing of the bell that the First World War, which had begun 4 years earlier, came to an end. New hopes arose on the minds of many people, while many others, too many others, were counting the dead. As the 4 years of the First World War ensured very tragically that few millions of people died in the battlefields, but also by starvation, illness, and lacking all the needful necessities. Many people who sacrificed themselves during those 4 years, even those who died, thought that their future generations would never face such a dark age. Alas, we human beings are often too reluctant to learn, even by viewing, by hearing, by experiencing the sufferings with which others are confronted. Hardly few years went by. A very ambitious individual was elected to become the Reichschancellor, or the Reichskanzler, as it's spoken in German, whose greedy ambition and vicious nature persuaded his countrymen, but also the men and women of his neighboring country, to come to the wrongful conclusion that others other than his own race were unworthy of true human births. He did not merely persuade his people to believe in a totally vicious fiction, but his fictitious thoughts led to the Second World War, which also killed millions of people in a very similar manner as its predecessor, the First World War. Today, 107 years ago, too many people, while despairing the loss of their loved ones, parts of their countries, parts of many other possessions, while they were still mourning and despairing, were still hopeful that no such moment would reoccur. Alas, their thoughts, their hopes, their desires tantamounted to nothing but tragedy upon tragedy. During the First World War, as I already said, millions of people had to suffer and millions had to die. Even these 107 years have gone by. The human beings of our planet are experiencing the tragedy of deaths by vicious dictators who know nothing other than the greedy ambition of increasing their power under falsehood, under false statements, under false persuasion that those others whom they attack are vicious, are unworthy. To be sovereign, unworthy. To be on this earth, unworthy. To have the proper livelihood expected of any human being. My late grandfather served during the First World War. According to certain sources, he was even detained by the subordinated soldiers of late Emperor Wilhelm II of Germany, but was released on the ground that he was not a fighting soldier, but a physician whose task was to heal, not to kill. But too many of his fellow countrymen and women and fellow global citizens had to pay too dearly. Too dearly because of the ambition of certain vicious men who knew nothing other than themselves and their pride. Even being crushed by such pride, they sacrificed too many of their fellow countrymen. And at the cost of the deaths of too many innocent people, which no doubt included the elderly, the women, the children, and the babies, they wanted to enhance their powers, which tantamounted to defeat and defeat only. When are we going to recognize this fact and learn from these lessons which our ancestors and their fellow countrymen and women had to experience? A question I raise upon all due humility upon my part, with all due respect towards my fellow global citizens, even on this very night, crossing from the 11th of November into the 12th of November of the current Gregorian year 2025. When are we going to raise not merely our voices, but our thoughts to the true level of true humanity and recognize these facts and refrain ourselves from killing the innocent of the innocent without any reasonable reason? Bidding you the protection of the same Almighty God who created all of us, even the victims who had to pay too dearly in the past and are paying too dearly even at this moment. I remain most humbly at your service, O my most beloved, dear, and respected fellow global citizens. Bidding you a solemn night, I remain most humbly at your service.